The whole deal is rigged, folks, and we're going to change it around.
The ballots are lost. There's fraud. There's theft. It's happening all over the place.
When they heard that Trump was running, they changed it because let me tell you, we have a rigged system. We have a corrupt system. This whole thing with the delegates is ridiculous. And you have to go out and you have to get your beautiful delegate card and you have to vote for your delegates, the delegates. It's crazy.
They don't have the money to do the universal mail-in votes. It'll be the greatest rigged election in history. It'll be the greatest fraud ever perpetrated, other than perhaps what they did to my campaign, where they spied on my campaign, President Obama, Biden, and everybody else. And they got caught. Let's see what happens. This will be one of the greatest frauds in history.
Now, let me just tell you a couple of things and why tomorrow is so important. Because the system is rigged. It's not meant for a guy like me who's not taking any money from these special interests. I'm self-funding my campaign. I came up here. I pay for it to come up here. It's a rigged system, just like so much else in government is rigged. But I've never seen anything like it.
I'm very worried about mail-in voting because I think it's subject to tremendous fraud and being rigged. You see that Paterson, New Jersey, where I believe it was 20% of the vote was fraudulent. It was all sorts of things happened. I understand a mailman was recently indicted someplace for playing games with the mail-in ballots. You'll have tremendous fraud if you do these mail-in ballots.
The whole deal is rigged, folks, and we're going to change it around. We're going to bring it back, and I'll tell you what, we're going to really look. I'm leading in delegates by a lot. But you know what? That delegate system is a disaster, the way they count. It's a disaster.
It's a disaster. All over Virginia, 500,000 votes. So that's something you have to think about. We don't want to have a rigged election. I know that. And you have to be very careful when you mention, as you constantly do, Russia, or you mention China, or you mention Iran, or others that attack our election system. And when you have this mail-in voting, it's very susceptible. It's something that can be easily attacked by foreign countries and by, frankly, Democrats and by Republicans.
To all of those Bernie Sanders voters who have been left out in the cold by a rigged system of superdelegates, we welcome you with open arms.
Voting is a great honor. It's a great honor. And people love to go out and vote. And I want to keep it that way. And if we don't keep it that way, we'll have nothing but a rigged system in this country. We can't do that.
They've had it. They've totally had it. So you're going to have millions of people that aren't going to vote. And hopefully that's all, okay? Hopefully that's all. But they're very, very angry and they're disenfranchised. And then we have a rigged system on top of it. But despite the rigging, I think we get there before the convention.
If we went to mail-in balloting, our election all over the world would look as a total joke. It would be a total joke. There's such fraud and abuse, and you know about harvesting, where they harvest the ballots and they go and grab them and they go to people's houses and they say, sign here. No, it doesn't work.
Nobody should take delegates and claim victory unless they get those delegates with voters and voting. And that's what's going to happen. And you watch, because the people aren't going to stand for it. It's a crooked system. It's a system that's rigged. And we're going to go back to the old way. It's called you vote and you win.
Now they want to take it countrywide, mail-in voting. It's going to be the greatest fraud in the history of elections. When you always talk about Russia, China, Iran on voting, your biggest problem is going to be with the Democrats, not with China, Russia, and Iran.